Another edition of the On the Mic podcast is here, and super excited to talk to my next guest with Bellator 293 on schedule for March 31st. That's Friday. A legend, not only just because of his last name, but the lineage that he comes from. I mean, super honored to have the son of Royce Gracie, Khrony Gracie. Sir, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. So super excited to talk to you. One, just because, and I'll get this off the bat. I'm sure you're going to get this question a lot. How excited are you to get back into competition after not having competed since 2020?
I mean, it feels good. I'm excited. COVID was kind of a shitty time for all of us, and now that it's fully over and I'm ready to get back.
What was this time away like for you? Obviously, any professional athlete is going to work on their craft. They're going to do everything they can to excel, given the resources that they have. But there's also the other side of it. There's the mental aspect of it. There's, not overtraining and not coming back too soon. So what was the big focus for you during your time away?
I think it was just to live life. There was nothing really keeping me away. I was just, whenever I felt like I wanted to come back, I came back. And that's where we're at now.
Well, not often can someone take, time away, enjoy life, and be on the good side of 20. You'll be 26 this year. I mean, that's you're not even close to hitting your prime yet. That's got to be exciting for you. But is this long term what you plan to do? Be with Bellator, compete, and all of that.
I mean, I'll never leave Bellator. Obviously, unless they cut me, but. My loyalty is with Bellator, and I'm not going anywhere. I would say that I will definitely, like my father says, Gracies are teachers. We're not, not necessarily fighters. We just happen to like to do it. But we're teachers. I'll be teaching for the rest of my life, jiu-jitsu, and fighting is just what I like to do, So there's no pressure for me to do it, and I'll do it until the day that I get tired of it. And when I get tired of it, well, then I will hang up my gloves and retire.
Well, for my selfish sake, I hope that's not anytime soon. But I do love watching you compete, and you do come from a long line and lineage, especially connected to Bellator. And you said your loyalty remains with Bellator. What does it mean to have your family kind of just in coexistence with Bellator and these opportunities that you've had throughout your career?
No, I think it's great. Bellator is like family. So, and they treat all their fighters very well. And, I think it's, like I said, I think it's great that Bellator gives opportunity to a lot of people. And I'm thankful I'm one of those people.
You talked about being a teacher. That's something I think gets overlooked in the sport. I think fans, sometimes even media, they just look at, the athlete as a fighter and nothing more. And that's something I try to pull away from on this podcast. What is it for you, obviously, given, the history of your family, but what is it for you personally that you enjoy about teaching?
Teaching does a couple of things, okay? First is when you teach as an instructor, every day you're learning something new, and every day you're training the same moves that all your students are training. So people think, teaching, well, you don't really train, but that's not necessarily the case, right? The other thing is jiu-jitsu teaches you a couple of things, and, a couple are, loyalty to your school, to your gym, discipline to come to class. We teach a very, very good self-defense curriculum, so our job goes beyond just teaching jiu-jitsu. It's how to protect yourself, get your mind right, your mental state right, it's get your physical state right, eating good, eating healthy. It's a 24/7 job, not necessarily a job, but it's a 24/7 thing you want to practice,
Absolutely. And with that, I mean, not every coach or teacher is teaching pro fighters. And when you talk about, we don't just teach jiu-jitsu. For you, what kind of, I guess, self-pride does it give you to teach the average Joe? A guy like me who hasn't trained his entire life, but to know that when they leave, they're happier, more confident, and they just learn something, like you said. And that's something that sometimes we see often in this sport. Fighters take advantage of that. They don't understand what that means sometimes.
People, I think, forget where they came from. And what I mean by that is not necessarily like in the basic terms of, you know, I came from nothing and now I have something. I mean, more so that people forget the tradition, especially when it comes to martial arts. They forget the tradition. They forget the respect, the, you know, like I said, loyalty, the honor, the discipline, all that stuff like comes together when you truly, you know, immerse yourself in a martial art, especially in jiu-jitsu. And as an instructor, I mean, it just, you know, it fills me with joy and pride that my students are going out there and being able to, you know, protect themselves. And on top of that, you know, how do you say, sometimes instruct other people when they become high enough, you know, rank. So
that's beautiful. I love that. Well, you'll be taking on David Pacheco at Bellator 293 on March 31st. What are you looking to showcase, whether it be to yourself, to the world, when you get back in there after such a long layoff?
Obviously jiu-jitsu. I think my dad would probably,
well, yeah, of course.
my dad might fly over here today if he didn't think, you know, he knew I didn't say jiu-jitsu. But no, I mean, you know, I've been training hard with my coaches for the last, you know, couple of years, and I think we have a pretty good game plan going into the fight. So, you know, you guys will tune in and see what happens.
Yeah. I don't need this blueprint. It makes it more exciting. But for you, then, I know you said, you know, when you're ready, you know, you'll walk away, and we talked about just how your thoughts on fighting. But what would be your plan for this year if all goes according to plan? In this fight, would we see you again at the end of this year?
Oh, I hope so. Yeah, if everything goes to plan. My dad always said, you know, you have a game plan until you get punched in the face, and that game plan might just go straight out the window.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of your father, I know so often, especially in a sport, that when you talk to the right people, it's so respected based on its history. When you talk to casuals, they just like the highlights. But coming, you know, from the family that you come from, how are you able to just separate while keeping family very important to you, but separate it and do your own path, do your own thing?
I think they go hand in hand. I think that I'm again, hope my father doesn't watch this, but I think I'm a better striker. I think I'm a better striker than he was, you know, during his time. And you know, his jiu-jitsu obviously is way ahead of mine, but I learned from him. So I think that, you know, as much as I want the jiu-jitsu to prevail, and as much as I want to follow the lineage and you know, carry on the family name and the legacy and all that, you know, does everyone hope for a knockout? Yeah.
I was gonna ask you what we should expect from you, but I think I know where your head's at. I know what you don't want to get your dad mad about. So I will just say it's super exciting to see you back in there. And I guess my last one here for you is it somewhat of a relief to finally know, like, all right, I'm getting back in there. I've had my time off. I've been enjoying life, but you know, this is something obviously you're so passionate about. So does it feel maybe like a good relief to have this fight here, and it's just like just a week away?
It feels, I mean, it definitely feels good to be fighting kind of hometown. I mean, I was, you know, raised in California, and all my people are here. So it feels good to kind of bring it home. But, you know, like I said, I took my time off, and I have no problem at the end of the day if I ever wanted to stop or if I ever wanted to keep going. You know, I'm a pretty straightforward guy, to the point, and I have no problem telling people, you know, what's going on. So, you know, hopefully you'll see me back in here soon.
All right. Well, hopefully that means I get you back on here soon. Wish you all the best in this upcoming fight at Bellator 293. I appreciate you making the time, and hope to talk again soon.
Thank you.